FlexiSchool policy was designed to ensure that the university is able to offer cohort teaching for groups of students who might want to complete a program or might want to accelerate through a program and finish in a more timely manner. It's an important part of the university's flexibility for students in terms of, particularly the regional students, being able to actually complete their programs in a timely manner. And we're very conscious of the fact that students have different schedules, have different lives and different commitments, and so a conventional semester, trimester model makes life difficult for some students to complete. This is particularly so for students that might be in a position where they have a break from study for financial or family reasons and then come back partway through a year and then they're in a position where it's difficult for them to follow the normal format. So it's very much flexi, the whole notion of being flexible. We used to call this summer or winter school. We use the more generic term flexi now to allow us that capacity to deliver cohort teaching. Now, the critical thing to remember here is that a FlexiSchool course is still a university course, and although it will show up on the student's record as a course, it doesn't sort of say that the student is going to have different learning outcomes. So a critical feature of it is that the learning experiences and learning outcomes need to be equivalent to a normal course. So we are very much expecting to see the same attributes, skills, and knowledge gained through a FlexiSchool as any other mode of delivery. So a critical feature of FlexiSchool policy is that the learning hours, which is related to the credit points of the program, of the course, needs to be such that it's equivalent to an ordinary face-to-face or other modes of delivery. So the first thing anyone designing a FlexiSchool needs to do is look at the policy and see that it stipulates that the learning hours need to be equivalent. So the curriculum design for your FlexiSchool, whether it's blocked face-to-face teaching followed by other activities or online activities to support it, needs to incorporate a minimum of 200 hours of learning experiences. So that's a critical feature of it. We're going to undergo an audit of these courses, and we've already found that sometimes this is not met. It's not that you have to have 200 hours of face-to-face teaching, but 200 learning hours. The second thing is the location. As I mentioned, the FlexiSchool is intended to allow us to offer cohort teaching right around the region. So usually what happens is the campus directors from a regional campus or one of the other campuses, or indeed the staff from the school, might know of students, particularly a block or cohort of students, that will want to complete a course in a particular time frame. So campus directors can approach the faculties and schools directly and ask them, express interest in FlexiSchool. The other thing is that often faculties will be aware of need, and so they will advertise an expression of interest, and that will then specify the location. So the location can be in any of the campuses, any of the locations where we can get a viable number. And that's the next critical point, is the class size varies. So you might think we have a set number of 15 or something, that we don't, because the cost of delivering a FlexiSchool varies right across the region. So as an example, if we're offering a FlexiSchool at Year 1 in the Solomons, then we require a certain number of students. If we're offering a FlexiSchool in Year 2 in Vanuatu, we might require a different number of students. There's quite a complex formula here based on the cost of delivery of FlexiSchool in each of the regional campuses, and that's detailed in FlexiSchool policy. So before you sit down and figure out what's a viable number, you actually don't need to do that. That's specified in the FlexiSchool policy. So please check that first before you start the process of developing or offering a FlexiSchool. You need to make sure that you actually have a viable number in the location at the academic level that's involved. And that can be as low as 5 students or as high as 50, depending on the location and the nature of the course. The course needs to be activated in the normal way we activate a semester course, and you just follow the normal processes of contact with SAS to do that, so that it's registered on Banner and that the students are then able to register on the course. We very much want students to register online rather than manually. For all the normal reasons, we've gone for online registration over manual. It enables us to keep track of it as well. You need to provide learning support for the students. That's not just the face-to-face teaching you might do as a FlexiSchool, but the learning support if you do a block course and then come away other learning support there. So you need to have a plan in place to provide the support. That could be online or whatever model it is you come up with, local tutor or combination of the two. That way we know the students are likely to be successful in the FlexiSchool. So FlexiSchools are pretty well always delivered by face-to-face or blended mode. So the blended mode would normally be the online support that you would offer from that. The assessment and quality needs to be the same as any other course of delivery. So FlexiSchool, whilst it might be shorter in duration, is not to be any different in quality in terms of the academic demands and the assessment, the exams, any assessment activities, all should be comparable in standard and quality to what we do for a normal course here. The fees will be advertised in the handbook and calendar, and they're set each year, so have a look at those. And the critical thing here that has not been well adhered to is the fee deadline. The fees must be paid in advance of the FlexiSchool starting, 5 days before the FlexiSchool starts. There's a very good reason for that. We've found in the past that when we ask for expressions of interest, there's often a flurry of interest and people think they're keen, and then somebody might then fly to the Solomons, fly to Vanuatu to deliver a course, and the numbers don't turn up, and the course can be completely non-viable. So that's why it is a requirement of FlexiSchool policy that the students are registered and paid in advance of the school going ahead. If you don't reach the viable numbers, then you're obligated to cancel the FlexiSchool and not go ahead. And no one's going to criticise you for cancelling a non-viable course. That's part of what the FlexiSchool policy requires you to do. So the FlexiSchool budgets are all handled by the School of Studies, and it's separate from the normal School of Studies budget because that's done on this business case, and that's why we want you to stick to the numbers that are viable for that. So you've got an income, guaranteed income, and we know that will exceed the guaranteed expenses for the FlexiSchool, so they can sit outside the normal school and faculty budgets because it's financially viable in its own right. So registration and admission follow the normal university rules and regulations. You do not admit anyone to a FlexiSchool in any way that is different from any other school, whether it's face-to-face or any other course like that as well. Just one thing about the course loads, students are not permitted to do more than one FlexiSchool at a time. And that's because it is a more intense way of learning, and it's deemed not possible for students to cope with 2 FlexiSchool courses running at the same time as well. The staff to teach a FlexiSchool need to be similar in standard and qualifications and experience to the staff that teach a normal course, whether on campus or by online mode or whatever else. And again, you're quite within your rights to take staff on to do that or to use existing staff, but either way the staff need to be adequately qualified and experienced in order to deliver the FlexiSchool. Any existing staff that does a FlexiSchool is paid a modest remuneration in recognition of the extra work, and that's currently Fiji $2,000 for each FlexiSchool that they offer. We do have a complaints procedure, and I'm going to talk about that in another video, so any concerns about the way the FlexiSchool runs, students should be directed to the student grievance procedures. So that's about it with FlexiSchool. So just to sum up, the key thing is that the FlexiSchool has the same entry requirements, admission and registration requirements as any school. The courses need to be activated in a timely manner. Staff need to ensure that there's a minimum of 200 learning hours, whether that's face-to-face, plus online activities and various other activities you might involve, and that overall the standard and quality needs to be comparable and equivalent to that for any other course. Thank you.